PurposefulNudge introduces the AI Hardware Refresh Playbook for CIOs. This will drive change in the field operations.
This chart reveals a paradox in enterprise tech. The line shows base token prices dropping across the industry, but these bars show what is actually happening to IT budgets. AI invoices are skyrocketing. Software as a service platforms have been absorbing these underlying compute costs to win your business, but they are essentially brokers for the hyperscalers who build the models and own the infrastructure. As the flat rate subsidies end, the bill is being passed to you. To protect your budget, you need to execute a three-step playbook: move AI workloads to the edge, insulate against cloud cost shocks, and future-proof your hardware fleet. The most effective way to control software costs in the generative AI era is to rethink how you procure hardware. Step 1 is auditing your operational exposure. When you introduce agentic AI, systems that execute multi-step autonomous workflows, a single user prompt fractures into dozens of background tasks. Token consumption does not grow linearly, it grows quadratically. Major providers recognize this math. Platforms like GitHub and Microsoft are already shifting their Copilot features away from predictable flat-rate subscriptions and towards pure usage-based pricing. If these workflows go unmonitored, the financial exposure is severe. One tech startup recently burned through 1 billion tokens in a single 30-day billing cycle. These recurring token requests are often quietly running in the background of your existing ERP and CRM software suites, escalating rapidly without any clear usage alerts. You need to immediately audit your current SaaS contracts. Review the fine print to isolate exactly where this usage-based AI billing is hiding and cap those workflows. Without deep visibility into your token consumption, enterprise AI scales as a financial liability rather than an operational asset. Step 2 is a zero marginal cost architecture. Move AI inference out of the cloud, directly onto your local TC's neural processing unit. Once downloaded locally, there's no meter running and data never leaves the device. The only ongoing cost is the laptop's electricity. This architecture creates massive efficiency at scale. Organizations like ObjectEdge are running heavy knowledge workflows for 100 employees and spending only about $40 a day total. To replicate this, implement strict routing logic. Reserve your expensive, cloud-based frontier models exclusively for high-ambiguity, complex reasoning tasks. Everything else, repeatable tasks like autocomplete, local document summarization, and anything involving sensitive data, must be routed to run locally on the machine. Executing this local routing requires specific, modern hardware configurations capable of handling the continuous computing load. Moving inference to the edge turns an unpredictable operational expense into a predictable, one-time capital investment. This brings us to step 3. If your current endpoint fleet consists of 3 to 4-year-old machines, you need to execute a hardware refresh immediately. Every new device you purchase must meet an absolute baseline specification, an integrated NPU capable of delivering at least 40 trillion operations per second or tops. This decision matrix shows your required specification tiers. Standard Office users need 16 gigabytes of RAM and a 256 gigabyte solid-state drive. For power users and developers, requirements jump significantly. They need a minimum of 32 gigabytes of RAM, ideally 64, and a 1 terabyte drive. Do not make the hardware underspec error. Buying 16 gigabytes of RAM for a power user causes severe system bottlenecks. Agentic AI functionally demands a 32 gigabyte threshold to operate without stalling. You might be tempted to wait 12 to 18 months for the software to mature. That is a critical procurement error. Global supply constraints and volatile DRAM pricing are driving an impending 20 to 30% market price hike across 2026 and 2027. To put that in perspective, if you delay, a standard 500-employee laptop budget will jump from $600,000 to nearly $1 million. Waiting out of caution will simply force you to purchase obsolete hardware later at a massive premium. Executing this 3-step playbook permanently removes the unpredictability of metered cloud billing from your balance sheet. At the same time, you accomplish 2 critical secondary goals: securing your proprietary data entirely on device and averting the impending hardware supply crunch. Here is your mandate. Audit your SaaS contracts for token exposure this week and take these exact hardware specifications to your vendors today. The future of enterprise innovation depends on owning the physical infrastructure where your models execute.
For more insights, subscribe to Purposeful Nudge and start rewiring your field services organization today.